1470 WOCA. Ocala.
Five minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. We have a great interview, a very insightful book that we want to talk to you about. Before we go there, though, I need to mention that Dr. Thomas L. Crowley is sponsoring this portion of AM Ocala Live. We appreciate that. Dr. Crowley is a board-certified ophthalmologist. He is at the Central Florida Eye Institute, not too far from where we broadcast here at the Paddock Mall. If you're looking for them and you need a landmark, well, the mall is your landmark, but they're not in the mall. They're in the office complex on the Sears side of the mall. That'll help you out. The address is 3133 Southwest 32nd Avenue. Their phone number is 237-8400. The Central Florida Eye Institute is your go-to place for Dr. Crowley, where you can have anything from something as simple as getting new eyeglasses to something complicated like LASIK surgery, cataract surgery, corneal transplants, you name it, diabetic eye treatments, and all of that. Give them a call, 237-8400. And thank you, Dr. Thomas L. Crowley and the Central Florida Eye Institute for sponsoring AM Ocala Live. All right, our next guest will definitely ring true when she talks about what she discovered and what she has in her book. You will say, you know, that rings true, but it's nice to hear this from somebody who's actually studied this. The book is called Healthy Brain, Happy Life. And I guess the best way for me to relate to this is this way. There have been times in my life when I have been healthier than other times, and it's almost like a choice, although you could say you get sunk by life, you know, you're busy doing too many different things. And when you give yourself a chance to breathe and maybe to get out and bicycle or to jog or just to walk around, it's not just a physical thing. There's something emotional, something maybe spiritual that improves. Dr. Wendy Suzuki has written the book. She is a researcher who focuses on understanding the patterns of brain activity. She's a two-time TED speaker. TEDx, I think is what it is.
Yes.
She serves as a reviewer for the top neuroscience journals, recognized with numerous awards, including the prestigious Troland Research Award from the National Academy of Sciences, and she runs an interactive research lab at New York University. Her book, again, is called Healthy Brain, Happy Life, a personal program to activate your brain and do everything better. And by the way, you get to know a little bit about Dr. Suzuki when you read the book. There's a little bit of a memoir element to the book. Good morning, Dr. Suzuki. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Larry?
Pretty good. Are you in New York right now?
I am.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the air with us this morning. So tell us your story, if you don't mind. Were you bogged down with your work?
Yes, definitely. That's to put it mildly. I was so focused on my research and getting tenure and setting up my lab and getting these experiments running that I completely ignored, anything else in my life. I wasn't exercising regularly. I wasn't eating well. I was 25 pounds overweight. I only interacted with people in my lab. I had no outside social life. And just as you were saying, sometimes you're healthier and sometimes you're less healthy. And probably the reason why I made this big observation is that I had kind of gone way down on the unhealthy side. And as a consequence, I had this kind of revelation on a river rafting trip that I was the very weakest person on the entire trip, and that really got me to the gym. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to lose this 25 pounds. And I did. But it took, a good year and a half to really get my exercise up to a good regular level.
Right.
And I became a gym rat. I was really enjoying it. And that's when I really started to notice these major differences, not just in my strength. So yeah, I lost 25 pounds. I was much stronger. But first of all, my mood was significantly better. I had a lot of stress before. I still had a lot of stress, but I was able to handle it so much better when I was exercising.
That is the fascinating part about it. That's the part that really attracts me to this subject. Subject is that we often don't realize that the brain is a physical part of us.
Yes, Absolutely. And those stress hormones are affecting major brain areas, including the brain areas important for memory and the brain areas important for attention and switching your attention and kind of keeping things in mind, called working memory. And they can have, even small changes in stress hormones can have profound effects on these brain areas, and in particular in the hippocampus, the structure important for long-term memory. We know that long-term increases of higher levels of stress hormones can actually kill those cells. So those.
Oh, wow.
Those, yeah, and so people that suffer from high levels of chronic stress, including people with depression and people with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, they have significantly smaller hippocampi than control.
So the question, doctor, is this. I mean, this is your job. I mean, this is what you do. And
Yes.
so I'm guessing you knew this before you were even connecting the dots with your own life. But some reason you didn't connect them?
Well, for me, it wasn't the stress so much as when I got regular with exercise, I noticed something really, really positive. That is that my attention span was significantly longer. I was able to focus my attention, particularly on writing. I do a lot of grant writing as a professor of neuroscience, and my attention was significantly stronger and better. And my memory, my long-term memory, my ability to pull ideas and thoughts out of different papers and bring them together in an argument got significantly better as I noticed I was exercising more.
That is a cool revelation. Yeah. That is very cool. Do you know what it makes me wonder? Every once in a while you hear somebody talk about life in the 1800s or 1700s or whatever, where we had to work the farm, we had more chores, we had more physical labor, and they will always say we didn't have the depression back then, emotional depression, not monetarily, but we had a lot of monetarily, a lot of financial. But I mean, as far as people being depressed, we didn't have that because A, we were too busy, and B, we had all this social time with each other. But now you're adding another C, which means that, which kind of says to me that those other things are probably true, but all the physical activity probably physically helped our brains.
Absolutely. In fact, studies have shown that physical exercise, aerobic exercise, can be as effective as the most commonly used antidepressant to treat major depressive disorder.
Wow.
And I don't have the major depressive disorder, but I can tell you that my regular workouts at the gym really elevate my mood. And I happen to do a particular form of exercise called intensati that I describe in the book that combines physical movements. It's like an aerobics class, but every move in the aerobics class is associated with a shouted positive affirmation, like I am strong now, or I believe I will succeed. And I call this intentional exercise. And that adds yet another element on the mood-boosting ability of just aerobic exercise alone, because affirmations act as a way to shift your mindset from the negative thoughts that go through so many of our brains all the time. I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not tall enough, to I believe I will succeed, I'm strong, I am powerful. And that shift in your mindset can have physical effects on your body. So with the exercise, you're going from your body to your brain, and with the mindset, with these affirmations, you're going from your brain and your mind back to your body. And that's why I think it's so powerful.
And this is one of the most amazing things, because I've raised 2 children, and I was always positive. I would give them that positiveness every day. They're great, they're wonderful, they do a good job, and they turned out to be well-rounded human beings. And then when you get to be the adult, people forget that adults need encouragement too. We need to tell ourselves that it's easy for us as loving parents to want our children to succeed and give them all the tools, but it's hard for us to give them to ourselves. Yeah, exactly. And that's so important. And I think mindset could be equally as important as physical exercise in shifting your life.
This is pretty fascinating stuff. So I mean, it sounds like we have already, with this short interview, some tools that if you applied what you've learned just in this short period of time, you could literally turn your life around.
Yeah, I believe that's true. And that's why I'm so fascinated. I mean, I switched my entire research program, a 17-year research program at New York University, from the study of memory, which is fascinating, and I'm still fascinated with memory, to the study of the effects of aerobic exercise on brain function, because I think it has so many important implications for our world, for ourselves, for our society, for schools, for the elderly, for the healthcare system. And it all is based on what we've already said about the effects of exercise on stress and memory and attention, and the effects of mindset on the physiological responses of our body.
And you've already demonstrated that in the book. Two areas that I found fascinating was the visual side and the auditory side. On both instances in your book, you encourage people to listen to a song they're not familiar with and get lost in it, and go view a piece of art and get lost in it that they're not familiar with, which will help them immensely.
Right. So that's in the chapter on creativity, and just trying to get people with easy things to do. It could last 4 minutes or less, to explore different parts of your sensory system, and in that way kind of enhance your brain. It's so easy to get access to these kinds of things, paintings and songs, but how many of us are just listening to the same things all the time and looking at the same things all the time?
Oh, yeah.
And explore a little bit.
Absolutely. Wow, it's so fascinating. We need to take a little break, and then we'll be right back. Dr. Wendy Suzuki, when we come back, we'll continue talking about the book, Healthy Brain, Happy Life. Fascinating stuff. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, clouds and some intervals of sunshine with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around into the evening hours. Today's high 86 to 90, and partly cloudy later tonight, low 70 to 74. Tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun, high 88 at the coast, 93 inland. Saturday, partly sunny. There may be a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, the high 88 at the coast, 94 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood, and when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then, I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Want to learn more about your furnace or air conditioner? Tune in this Saturday for free tips and expert advice on how to get the most out of your heating and air conditioning system. Or get a free AC rejuvenation by being the first person to go to cleanmyac.com. That's cleanmyac.com. Saturday, free tips and expert advice on how to get the most out of your heating and air conditioning system. Or get a free AC rejuvenation by being the first person to go to cleanmyac.com. That's cleanmyac.com.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Fidgeting can make it easier to lose weight. Many couples think that once they're married, all their issues with in-laws will disappear, but Steinort says a marriage magnifies these problems, so if you're having family clashes with potential in-laws, it's best to resolve those issues before you get married. Just like couples can take out a loan for a house or a new car, there's been a huge surge in loan companies catering to wannabe parents.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
All right, 11 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Our guest on the phone is Dr. Wendy Suzuki. Her book is called Healthy Brain, Happy Life, a personal program to activate your brain and do everything better. We'll get into the book and be fair to the book itself, but I think the topic is fascinating, and Dr. Suzuki's story is fascinating. Doctor, I'm wondering if maybe Robin and I stumbled upon this a little bit. Let me explain what I mean. Robin and I play music, and we play music like for nursing homes, etc. And sometimes they will ask us to stroll and play. Okay. Well, strolling and playing requires you memorizing the songs, and it's always been a little bit of a challenge to memorize, an hour's worth of songs. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you stand up, I know this is going to sound weird, but you're exercising more while playing a musical instrument than if you're sitting down.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like we noticed, wow, we are able to memorize these things better because since we've been standing, and maybe now you've told us why. Maybe it's because we were standing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fascinating. So all the work that I focus on in the book really is specific for aerobic exercise. So while standing it burns more calories than sitting, and I personally have a standing desk, for example, it's unclear whether all those same effects that I'm talking about for aerobic exercise is also the same for standing. But there is a fascinating recent study from Stanford that looked at the effects of walking versus sitting on tests of creativity. So they tested this test. They used this test called the alternative uses test, in which they say, okay, I'll give you the name of an object, a brick, and you have to come up with all the possible uses for a brick. You make a wall, you make a house, you use it to flatten out a chicken in cooking. You can use the doorstop. All these. I practice, so I wouldn't sound silly.
Right.
But this is a test used in neuropsychological, testing, and what they found was, irrespective of whether you're walking on a treadmill facing a blank wall or walking outside, it increases your ability to come up with more uses for that object.
Oh, wow. And how exciting that is that for somebody who needs new, innovative ideas in their job, in their business, in their life?
Exactly. And I certainly notice that when I take a walk, I tend to, it's usually I take a walk when I'm stuck or I can't stand working anymore. And new ideas come as I'm walking. And I always felt it was because I'm outside. My office is right next to Washington Square Park, and I love going out there and walking past the dog
I know that area.
And all the interesting and weird people that you see in Washington Square Park.
Right.
And that inspires me. But I think there's something about just the walking, just the physicality of it, that's helping creativity, help unblock those mental blocks, and maybe helping you memorize your music. Do you feel like you play better when you're strolling?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe. I'm just teasing. But I want to ask you something though about yourself personally, because this is something I noticed about me. I'm a nice guy, okay, but I'm not always that sociable. Like here I am on the radio, I am, but I'm shy, and I'm shy. I'll be honest with you. That's the whole bottom line. And do you relate to that? And did that change when you started doing the physical activity?
I've had different kind of phases in my life. I was a very, very shy child, and as I got my faculty position, I became less shy and just to survive in an academic world. But I am much more comfortable in my skin now than I ever was when I first started as a faculty member, at New York University, which was 17 years ago. And I think it's part of all of this journey that I talk about in my book. That includes not just the exercise and changing my physical life, changing my social life, but also adding meditation and mindfulness and spirituality to what I value and what I spend time on. So all of that has led to I would call myself, yes, outgoing. I'm definitely not shy anymore. But more than that, I'm just more comfortable in my own skin.
Interesting. When we watch videos from the space station, it always feels like we're looking at the absolute brightest people that have ever lived, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, they seem energetic, they seem optimistic, right? They're just beautiful, bright, and I've often thought, I wonder what it is. Is it the regiment they go through? Is it the oxygen they're breathing? What is it? What is it that makes them? Maybe you've hit on it. Maybe you've figured out what it is.
I mean, it's it's a whole body thing, and I am very careful about what I eat and try and eat really healthy, and I'm obviously exercising. It's part of who I am and what I do now. But it's more than that. It's I think with this book and the shift in my research from memory, which again I loved, and I still love the questions that remain to be answered in memory. But I think in the shift towards looking at the effects of exercise, I found my purpose in life, and that is so satisfying, and that brings on a whole new level of happiness in me.
And that's a very interesting point, because no matter how great a person can make their body feel, if they don't have that emotional stability, they're going to go down the tubes.
Exactly. And it was never just to look good. It was really to feel stronger and better in myself. And that was just the first step. And but what has really kind of grounded me in my purpose is just realizing that I have a real message in exercise, and I have kind of the scientific background to address it in a way that not everybody can.
Right.
This is kind of, for scientists, for neuroscientists, it is low-lying fruit, because we have so much information from studies in rodents about what exercise is doing to blood vessels, to neurons, to glia cells, which are the support cells in the brain. But there's much less known about what exactly is the prescription that we need in humans, what kind, how long, what kind of exercise and how long of exercise you have to do to really optimize your mood or your attention or your memory. And maybe they have different formulas for each kind of cognitive function. But those are definitely answerable questions. So those are the first questions that we're going after. I want
to tell you something I witnessed. I was working at an assisted living facility for a short while, and there in that facility was a memory support unit, people who had one form of dementia or another. And I noticed this, that if I were to ask them the question, what is on the third planet from the moon of the third planet from the sun, whatever, they wouldn't even have any idea. But if I was to ask them, where's the Empire State Building?
Yeah.
And they would look in their brain. You could see them kind of looking, that information is in there somewhere. So they know maybe not what the answer is right away.
Yeah.
But they know that it's in there somewhere. And the reason I'm bringing it up to you is because I have a question about using Google, for example, or the internet for searching for answers. A lot of times we know the answer is in our head somewhere, but rather than looking in our head, we go to Google. Do you think we're missing out on a brain exercise by simply going online and looking things up?
Well, I would say, at least for myself, I tend to look up things that I have no idea about.
No idea, yeah.
Russia, and so that wouldn't help me if I just tried to imagine that. I think that it's better to use your brain as much as you can for memory, especially memory, and relive those memories. And yes, if you substitute computer searches for that would not be helpful.
The overall message that we've gotten from the book is like I said in the intro, it rings true. You may have wondered if this was true, but the book kind of, you've really done the research and written it out in such a way that it says, okay, this is true, and therefore it's up to me. I need to make a difference. I have a copy of the book here. It is called Healthy Brain, Happy Life. If you'd like the copy from Dr. Wendy Suzuki, call me. You can have the one that was sent to us. The rest of us have to go buy it. Doctor, give us a website, please.
It's www.wendysuzuki.com, and you can get all the information about all the different places you can buy it. Of course, it's on Amazon, it's indiebook.com, HarperCollins.com. It's all over the place. So it's very easy to find.
Thank you, Doctor.
Just Google it.
Great. Google it, yes.
From the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu.
We need